Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I am going over a game that was played on Fox Go server between two professionals. And this is going to be the start of a new series that I have planned. That I don't know what the name is yet, but it's going to have to do with things that are interesting that happen during games. Whether it's interesting life and death, interesting teisujis, those sort of things. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure how lengthy the videos will be, but I just figured there's a lot of things that I see in games that I think are pretty interesting, and I want to share it with you guys. I will note that this series is going to focus specifically on human games, so no AI games. Because we all know there are very interesting moves in AI games. So this game was actually played on a Fox Go server between Shin Jinseo and Zihao. Shin username on Fox Go server is nparadigm, and Gu's is Indiana13. So if you want to look them up on Fox, you can see all their games. But yeah, this game was played over a year and a half ago, I believe. And yeah, something very interesting comes up in this game. Some of you may have seen a game where this has happened, and some of you may not, and it might be very surprising. But opening's pretty standard. I guess the 3-3 is a little unorthodox, but black plays a large enclosure. Should note, Shin is white and Gu is black. White approaches from the inside. Black just backs off and white just backs off. So very calm opening. Black invades through 3, of course. White blocks. Plays here. Black could go into the very complicated variation if black wanted to, but in this case I guess he didn't. Just especially since this was like an online game, and when I saw this game live, or at least I saw it later that day, and as soon as I saw what happened, I had to save the game. So I've had this game saved on my laptop for a while. But that being said, when you download games on Fox, they don't save what the time settings were. So I know it was 1 minute main time, but I'm not sure the overtime. I believe the overtime is 3 overtimes of 15 seconds. That's what I usually see professionals play with. So it makes sense that in a faster game, they just play a simple opening. And then white takes the center spot. Black invades immediately on this side. Doesn't like something like this. Maybe thinks white's area is going to be too hard to invade, but this is something I would consider as black for sure. But black jumps in. If white comes, black has 3 ways he can go. He can jump out. He can. So if white comes down, he can jump out if he wants. If he can also extend along the bottom, or he can come under. In this case, he jumps. White plays a kick, and then black plays an asking move first. See how white will respond. I think a very similar situation happened in game 1, I believe, of AlphaGo versus Kuja. Yeah, I think it's something. I haven't seen that game in a while, but I vaguely remember this sort of variation coming up. But so maybe this was inspired by that, or I'm just misremembering. But either way, kind of asks what white wants to do. White jumps to not get sealed in. In the game, black descends. The reason why is even though black can cut white off, since white can descend, we can see white still has a connection on either side. So if black goes that way, white can hane here. Black comes this way, white can hane here and still connect. So as long as white has 2 options for connecting, it's still good for white, or white's still fine. So that's why in the game, black just descends in which case it forces white to take the other option of extending. Black attaches. This is a very important shape to know. Whenever your opponent kicks and you already have this jump, the spot you want to look for is this attachment. And even though it looks like you're leaving a ton of weaknesses, you're treating the stones lightly, because there is a weakness here in black shape. If black goes elsewhere, there's definitely a weakness here. So black's trying to treat the stones lightly. You'll see white does wedge, and then black can connect actually. And because of this exchange here, this move right here, you'll see white's not able to cut because black can hane. And if black can hane and white's not able to hane back, which we can see in this case, white cannot. Black just gets surrounded. So what black's going to do is black's going to give up the 2 stones. Even can get a move like that in Sente. And then attack the bottom right somehow. And because black has these moves here, black's going to have the advantage in this fight. And you can see, as long as black gives up these 2 stones at the bottom lightly, like white doesn't get a lot from taking the 2 stones, that's considered good for black. So that's why white extends, because there's still 2 cutting points. So black connects, white cuts, of course, and now black has a decision of whether he should Atari first, which is my first instinct, and play like this, or just connecting. In the game, black actually just connects, which wouldn't be my first instinct, because when I Atari first and then connect, white only has 2 liberties, so white has much less options. But when I just connect and white can stand up, white has 4 liberties. My stones on the outside are super weak, and yeah, it doesn't seem as good. But in this case, it's better to not Atari, because of course these stones on the bottom are a lot heavier. These stones here are a lot heavier than the 3 stones in the center. So if I limit the options of my stones at the bottom, it's going to be very difficult to handle these stones. So you can see by actually Ataring this way, I'm actually limiting the options of my own stones, or white stones. So that's why black just connects, allowing white to stand up, which feels really painful, but it's probably the best, or it is the best. Black extends once, white extends. Getting this turn really hurts these stones here. So black really needs to get this move in. So white extends. White can't hane because of the cut. Yeah, and even though black will not be able to capture this cut immediately, black is able to cut here, and then white has to decide whether to Atari here, and you can see lose a lot of points, and black actually can live at the bottom anytime with F2. So yeah, definitely don't want to let black get this hane or this cut. Just extend the liberties. Black's still weak in the center. Of course, black plays this move, and white plays one of my favorite moves, is a 2-2 spot. If we imagine black's able to get all these pushes, where's the move that will protect all my cuts as white? Be the 2-2 spot. So you can see, like this, white has no cuts. Any other way white protects, there's cuts that white has to watch out for. So this is definitely the best move. Very stylish as well. So black just jumps. So white jumps, and then black attaches. white descends. The reason why white descends as opposed to maybe Hane's here is because even if white pushes once more, black can actually probably Hane, but basically there's this weakness at b5 and also c4. So let's say something like this happens. Black has this double peep to look for, where if white connects here, black can cut, and then these two stones are cut off. But white connects here. So because there's this weakness, it's just better for white just to fix here and leave Aji on the left side. Because black's still weak, and white's solidifying the corner, so there's no reason to make this Hane. Just descends. Black jumps, going after the stones in the center while connecting with his left side group. White plays a surrounding move on these 4 stones here. It's definitely the spot white needs to play. Like if white tries to play on the left side, black will then get the first move in the center, which means these white stones are weaker than these black stones. So white definitely needed this move here. We have a cross cut here, so white's taking the advantage against these cutting stones. Black caps, treating these stones lightly. White, of course, cuts them off, kind of asking black, are you going to let me cut? Black disagrees and says no. White Hanes, and black cuts. If white Ataris, black's able to then extend down, and you can see if white tries to wedge to cut them off, this would be a double Atari. And now white stones again in the center are going to be floating. So instead white Hane's here, and directly we have a liberty race. So black has these 5 black stones have 4 liberties, and these 6 white stones have 4 liberties. Of course black descends. It wouldn't be good enough for white to just win the semi-I, because black would take out all the points in the center, or on the bottom, in Sente. And this would be great for black. Like these 2 white stones are pretty useless. Black's all connected. This move here is actually good exchange. These stones are cut off, so it's just white can't just be happy taking the 5 stones, so white disconnects. Again, white has actually extended his liberties, so now white has 6 liberties. So black needs to take away again, or yeah, white extended his liberties by 1. So again, but black needs to keep applying the pressure. If black just connects, white will connect, and again we have a situation where white has 5 liberties and black has 4. So black cannot win this semi-I, and because white has disconnected black, much better for white because these black stones are cut off and these black stones are cut off. So black plays a very sharp move actually of Atarying. So white can take, but now if white fails, we can see white has 3 liberties and black has 4. So now all of a sudden black can win this semi-I. So white doesn't connect. White comes down. Black would like to Hane to take away liberty, but when white goes here, we can see there's Mi-I, where black connects here, white's able to make 2 eyes, which means white doesn't need to take these stones off the board, which is a huge deal. But if black goes here, white can capture here and have 2 eyes either way. So black needs to just descend. So white Ataris, again threatening to make 2 eyes, so black plays inside. And white plays here. So now we have a double ko situation. White takes away a liberty. So if black just Ataris, we can see that white will be alive in double ko. We can see even if black makes a ko threat, When black takes back, white's able to take back the other ko. So white's alive in double ko. So game black Ataris, and then cuts, which is a very strong move, but allows white to cut. Black descends. If white descends, black's able to Atari. White needs to take. Atari. Take. Throw in here. White needs to take. And then connect. And this would be a... This isn't a ko anymore. Like a two-way ko for white. This is actually a ko for this entire group now. And white has no ko threats. So... And even if white did, anything would be bigger. Or anything is not as big as what this ko here. So... Yeah, white cannot descend directly after black Ataris. White needs to take, which white does. But again, black cannot... Black can connect on the first line. Again, it's double ko this way. But black's able to fill. Black's able to connect potentially with ko on the first line. So that's important to keep in mind. So black has this kind of backdoor connection. Black actually does take once, which white fills. And then black takes here. So because of this exchange on the bottom, we have that situation of black's able to connect on the first line if he needs to. And again, it's white captures the 5 stones, but since white had to take all the stones off the board, it's not super great. Plus, black captured this stone here, which is a big capture, and white needs to come back. So I'll just do something like that. Even if something like this happens, the gain for black is pretty large on the right side. So maybe white can play the ko later, so that's why in the game white just hanes, kind of leaves the option here later. Black takes this ko, hanes, and then cuts. So if white plays this way, black's able to Atari, and then capture. So then would be able to scoop out all the points in the corner. So of course, white Ataris the other direction. Black Ataris. Again, white can't descend because there's an Atari on this side, so white needs to take. Black connects. White Ataris. And now you can see what has been created. Black takes this ko, which is putting these stones in Atari. So white takes this ko. Black takes this ko. White takes this ko. Black takes this ko. White takes this ko, putting these stones in Atari. Black takes this ko, putting this stone in Atari. White takes this stone. Or takes this. Takes this stone to make sure these are alive. And what happens is they now have created a quadruple ko. Which I've watched many games. Like this game was played, I think, in like February of 2018 or something like that. And even since then, I have not seen a situation like this in a pro game, AI game, doesn't matter, like Foxgo game. Like this is crazy. So yeah, there's a quadruple ko. And they play it out a few times. Yeah, and at this point, they settle on a draw, which makes sense because each ko is as big as like the other ko, so there's no way that any of them can win another one of the kos. Yeah, it's just crazy. I think I found the game super interesting, so I figured other people would find this result pretty interesting too. And if you've never seen a quadruple ko game game ending in a draw, it's definitely interesting. But yeah, ever since this game, I still have not seen another game on Fox end in a draw like this. So it's definitely super interesting, in my opinion. Yeah, it's crazy fights on the bottom too. Very in-depth and very high-level reading for a 15-second game, most likely. But yeah, I'll have the link to this game record in the video description if you want to check it out yourself. But yeah, that's it for me from this video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section. And I will see you all in the next video.